All right, so we're going to go into a fast five, a little bit extended this time because it really could boil down to any 5 minute period for here for the next 15 minutes. But basically, how did IMT steal the win from NRG? If you look, they're recalling now 6 supers barreling into the base, and Baron is spawning in 44 seconds. By all measures, NRG should win this game. So, why didn't they? What happened? How did they lose this game? They even had a chance on a counter throw to get through it. So let's check it out. So coming out of the base at 27.34, right? They've spent all this money. They've got 9K in their pockets. Now, it is the onus of ending is on them, right? If you don't end, then you're just barreling this money into the pockets of Aphelios. But here's where things go wrong, all right? So we have this hard engaged. Here's the problem. We haven't allowed for the supers to come in yet. This has been treated like a normal engage, as in a blank map state where, yes, you're probably winning this fight, but we're going to see why it's not definitive, because you're fighting against an Annie and an Ornn in this tiny area, which means that they're both going to get exceptional amounts of damage out. Plus, we've got the Aphelios with red-white guns in the perfect position, able to escape and move to either side. And watch what ends up happening in this fight, because FBI is currently 12-2, legendary streak, has 3 and most of the 4th item intact. If you just wait and you back off and you don't actually fight, you still win the game. If you're NRG, right? If nothing happens, you win in these long standoffs. You're actually giving Immortals exactly what they wanted in this position by fighting, because what they want to do is they want to fight you quickly, have some sort of survival, something that relieves you that you're not strong enough to take Baron. If they win, great, even though they're totally not expecting to, even though they are getting some amount of scaling from Ornn and Aphelios, like we said. But you know, on the other side, you've got Jax, Zeri, and Yuumi, so it's not like they're just tremendously outscaling you. In this position, you don't want to give Immortals the fight. You want to force them into a position where they have to choose between the waves and the fight. And because they go so early, right, none of these supers have even been crossed into the base. That allows Immortal to get this play off. You see right here, look at Zeri, stunned, rooted, knocked up, boom, back to back to back. Chain CC just between the Ornn and the Annie was enough to kill from 100 to 0. And then did you notice what happened on the top of the fight as well? You had Tactical soloing out Jax. So look at how this goes. They're chasing Kenvi. Kha'Zix is the least important member of this team. This is a Gore Drinker Merc Treads 1.5 item Kha'Zix. Just not important at all compared to a 3 item Aphelios. So this pick is largely the problem, that you got 5,000 gold off the table, but you have 10,000 gold right here on the champion that scales better with gold. So look at this fight. We continue. Zeri's trying to get some damage. Contracts ends up peeling back to try to consolidate here and try to save for the fight. What this ends up doing, yes, Tokla is able to finish the kill on Kha'Zix, but again, like we said, Kha'Zix is not actually important. So no damage has come to Tactical. Now Tactical is going to be stacking up the chakrams on his best long-range fighting combination, green and white guns. So as we continue the fight, here we go. We see Zeri die, and Tactical is actually still has cleanse up. So once he gets stunned by the Jax, cleanses it and one-shots him to get the kill. This is super important because now we've got these beefy members still alive. Bolulu is able to get back out. Contracts is not continuing the fight because they did go in 2 different directions. Now, in this position, with all the cooldowns down, you still have a little bit more threat. And if you're Yuumi, you should try to get back into the fight this way. Go in, maybe could have rode Contracts to get in. But even from this point, it should still be okay. All right, you did give Immortals what they wanted. Tactical is going to get an immense amount of farm off of this. He got the kills, plus he's going to be able to pick this up if he has the flamethrower gun. So he's going to go and cast his spells and chew through it. So watch what happens in the continuation. Baron is still up. We still have 2 supers everywhere going in. But you see that this is actually the last wave for the bottom and middle inhibitor. So Immortals is actually out of the hot water now, because these are the last supers coming in. Also, the fact that they're disjointed, right? Now, the change has made it so that your minion waves arrive to their points at the same spot, but they still don't get to the end points so fast. The mid wave still comes in faster. So Tactical is able to take his blue gun and continue the play. Here's the fight again in slow motion. Again, all these resources being used onto Kenvi on Kha'Zix, only erasing 5,000 gold off the table and leaving the 10k gold carry up here. They're unable to keep Zeri alive ever so slightly. But now they get out of this position. You have the inhibitors respawned. All right, and now they've got what they need. They're coming back into the fight. Aphelios gained the majority of the gold in that fight. Hasn't been able to shop yet, only has the Cloak of Agility. And here we go with the next phase. Now, if you're Gragas, all right, you don't deal that much damage to the Baron, but it's important to note what people's timers are and where you spot them when you spot them, okay? When you're starting the Baron off like this and you know that enemy team is in base, as you knew because Annie and Ornn were clearing minions and you see Aphelios, in this position, you actually want to go all in to the Baron and then leave. You want to get a full cycle of spells in if you're the Gragas. And between Gragas and Yuumi and Sejuani, they've got enough tools to be able to go out and flank and knock people away if it comes up. They haven't given themselves that much of a warding advantage here. Now you see Gragas moving over. Good job by Kenvi scouting with the W. Now they do have vision over here. Now why has Palafox gone out? I don't think that he needed to rejoin with his teammates. He panicked a little bit. All right, so you're coming over, but now what? Now you've got no control over this side. You're relying just on these two wards. So if there is a far side alteration, or if they can just approach and get the ward up, which they do, with Ornn, the biggest member on the team, they get to step up. They walk up. There's nothing dissuading them. Now this is truly a 50-50. All right, and not just that, but Kha'Zix deals more burst damage than Sejuani does. Check out this play by Kenvi. He goes into his ultimate, goes invisible. Now the play's coming out. Now suddenly you've come out, you've debuffed your entire team, you've gone 70% on the health of the Baron, but you actually have not finished it. So taking this fight, you're actually at a loss with these debuffs and the fact that you're missing health. This is a big problem. So now we take this fight, and here we go. Aphelios gets to land the perfect, would be a 4-man ult, but Yuumi's up in the sky. And look at the spray, the root, the CC. Boom, they get the pops that they need. And again, it's Aphelios, Ornn, Annie in a corridor. You've lined yourselves up this way. This was a huge missed opportunity by NRG. All right, so a little bit impatient the first time, and second time, they were too patient. They were too cautious. They could have burst the Baron with those timers and then go off. And again, look at the supers in the base. You do not actually want to stand off for a fight here. You actually want to create a face-off or a standoff where neither team benefits anything from moving forward, because again, there's two supers in the base going to win the game for you, right? This is enough to break the base, and the third one coming in, this is a game-ending push. If nothing happens, then NRG wins this game. But instead we get the continuation. Contracts with one step back in is enough to get him killed as well, and you see Tactical just carrying through the game. They're getting little bits, bites, and morsels to come back into the action. And now resources being expended up here. They get to body in front of the turrets to keep these alive. Very important to keep these turrets alive. Now, with the turrets themselves, once they go behind, below 33 or 66% health, they won't regenerate past that threshold. They will regenerate up to a third and 2/3. You see the Gragas ult again, super cautious. And now this time Tactical in the pit, and we see the beginning of this fight, but just not enough damage. And they're going to trade back 2 for 1. And from this point, we're actually starting to talk about Immortals potentially being favored here. All right. Now, oop, I did not mean to go back. Okay. So Tactical's dead. Great, right? Well, Jax is dead as well, and Yuumi. So Yuumi's worth half your carry. And we have this position. Now, what are the tools that are available to them? What do they have for wards? Well, they went with the shallow ward here, so they don't know that there's not a green ward here. They know that there's a control ward right in their face. But they could go and just burst it, right? So that's the call. That's the call that they're making, is let's just burst it. Now, they're absolutely totally fine to do this. Treats right here. This is a blunder. Your job in this role is to not let this happen. And look what they do. They go up, they say, oh, all right, we're going to stop bursting 752. We're going to stand off to the side. And Gragas actually picks it up. What was Treats doing? Look at this position. Could have been here. Look, just keep on walking, keep walking, keep walking. They'd be right here. They'd be in the Gragas' face right now. Why are you not stopping the Gragas from getting this? So suddenly, now you've got these two supers in top wave. They're going to break this turret, and they've got Baron again. So again, the advantage is in NRG's hands. Even if, I will say, even if Immortals took that Baron and they got back to a parity on the map, they'd still be behind, just for the fact that it's going to take them 2 win fights to get there, whereas only one loss will end the game for them. But look, he's just like sitting off to the side. There's split comms as far as who should take, who should not. Treats is not coming out to do his job. And, you know, we won't take anything away from Palafox. He did his job right. But you got to see, like, what is your job in these situations? They were correct to not kill the Vision Ward. They had enough damage. But in conjunction with that call needs to be Treats, come take the most aggressive position possible, because we are making the most aggressive call possible. Right, those things have to go hand in hand. One hand has to wash the other. Otherwise, you get these synchronizations or syncopated rhythms where one person on the offbeat can make a mistake, and that's what happened. So now we get the push again. We're going to deal with this 14 kill Zeri. The problem for NRG is that Zeri has not been getting any stronger, right? She's already full build. And when we come up, this is what you see most often. You see Jackson solo lane, 4 people on the side lane. The issue with this composition and what we're looking for is the heavy level of engage from Ornn, Annie, and Nautilus together, right? Plus the fact that charging into an Aphelios is very usually going to be a big problem. Now check out this position again. Jax is going to go over and start working straight on a turret. Now this is a problem. Again, you're moving away. Enemy team might have an opportunity to engage. Multiple tools get used here. Yuumi ultimate, Sejuani ultimate are being used. So now you've got Jax coming up. This part's good, but now wait for them. Wait for Immortals to split apart. What you don't want to do is give them the fight now while it's 4v5. They move away, you step up, Jax steps back. Okay, this part is good. This part they're doing just fine. Here we go, though. They see the engage. Jax is not teleporting immediately on the Ornn ult. Decides to come over to fight for mid inhib. Now, you would get checkmate again. The problem, again, will be whether or not you can actually solidify this fight. Now, NRG moving back up forward is this right here. Super risky by the Zeri to put that little pressure on. Not worth you ever risking your life. NRG now with the Baron buff has gotten themselves back into a checkmate position. What they need to do, again, similar to before, with patience, escort supers in, make sure that they're coming in from the 2 lanes that have broken inhibitors, and as they come in and enter the base, that's when you're going to ingress into this bot lane. Dragon is not important for winning the game, although because of the length of the inhibitors being down, you can still come back and take Dragon. If things are going poorly, you can say, all right, you guys are pinned to your base. We'll come out and collect soul and then come out and finish afterwards. If you do that, though, you have to have this internal timer that you're only going to have 2 waves to work with before you have to give up the play. Now, here we go. Another mistake. We're talking about waves coming in at the same time. Plus the fact that Zeri is very near full build, she doesn't get anything from pushing this wave. You're not actually shopping with this money. So what are you doing by pushing? All you're actually doing by pushing this wave now is handing it to the enemies. You're not in position to do anything else, which means that Immortals is able to come up and pick up this wave for free. Compare that to not doing anything, letting the wave gum up there for 10 seconds, and then coming forward, and then you'd be in a little bit better position. You'd have 10 extra seconds to get into the right spot. So a lot of these like little moments, NRG needs to work on their game-ending technique. And now you've got the completely reversed situation. You'd like to have Jax coming in and escorting these minions in, and then the rest of the team bot. Instead, you have Jax bot and the foursome coming in this way. A little bit harder for enemy team to engage upon you this way. So I see the merit for that. But again, by rushing to get these waves in, we're going to have desynchronized pushes. Jax is now by himself trying to match this wave, but he can't go up because they don't have any vision up here. Love the defensive ward from Immortals. But Jax is stalled out, and now there's going to be another super coming in. So what do? As Immortals, go up, pick up one super in base, rotate over, fight for the other one. And now you're going back into a coin flip. And anytime that they step up, you're looking at the potential for Solo to answer. Solo's not really trying to fight the Jax here. He's just trying to clear the waves and be in range of an ultimate. So we continue, right? This play continues. And you see NRG not making any progress here. And it's largely on the back of the fact that they're pushing mid lane too fast, right? Every time that they just wipe that mid lane turret or mid lane wave, they're actually just handing the wave over to the enemy carries. They're picking it up, and you see that this gold differential is just shrinking and shrinking. Not only that, but later in the game, a 5K gold lead is much less consequential than it is early. So before we were talking about a 10K gold lead at 44 to 34. Now we've got 6.4 and it's near the end of the game. Aphelios is actually full build. Now, another thing to note right here, when you're in a situation where you're behind by a lot, you basically want to invest into the gamble. You want to do an all or nothing approach. Zeri noticeably has Guardian Angel, knowing that she's the target of the engage, but this will drastically reduce her total DPS, okay? Whereas Aphelios went for full damage, meaning that in these standoffs, he's going for the maximum, right? It's his job to deal the most amount of damage possible, and I absolutely love that he did not go for any kind of safety item, because his safety is his position and his comp. He doesn't need to build safety in this team. Everyone's based around him coming in. So they go in, they muscle out the team. Jax, again, a little bit too far forward, doesn't really accomplish anything with these waves. They're not creating any kind of patience for these stack slow pushes. They seed the dragon, and now NRG gets nothing, and the inhibitors are going to respawn. So now we're down to one last flip. Baron buff. All right, last time, based on the positions, I want you to pause the video. All right, take a moment and decide how should NRG approach this Baron. All right, again, we're going to talk about the position of the enemy champions. They're in their base and taking it, taking the minions in there. You have an opportunity to be super aggressive, and Gragas wants to come and just blow these guys away. Now, they take a little bit longer, right? They decide to split and kill wards and take some time in the bush and set it up. Again, they miss their opportunity when it's on the table, but it will come again. The super is coming in top. That's the last super in that wave. They still have the stacked advantages on the minion waves, being a higher net level on the team means that you'll get stacked minion waves, but basically they had that advantage on spawn. They've since given it up, but the minion waves are all stacked up, and that's why they're still pushing in. You're still threatening for inhibitors to go down here. Okay, now here's where they go, and here's the mistake. Jax goes off for a solo. They split. They don't, however, body the Kha'Zix. So again, Palafox needs to do a better job of presenting threat and putting his body in harm's way to get the Kha'Zix out of the pit. So now it's a stolen Baron buff. They get the fast recalls. They get to come up. Now we have full item Aphelios. And at this point, you can't say that you're ahead. Even if you have a gold lead, if the enemy carry has 6 items, it doesn't really matter. They are going to carry enough damage for the entire fight. Everyone else is just gated by cooldowns. It's Ornn, Nautilus, and Annie together. Now check this out. Again, Gragas excuses himself from the pit at exactly the wrong time. Right? That's not the time to go around. If you're going around, if you're making the patient play to move around, then your team needs to make the patient play and let HP totals go. If you're going to make the aggressive play, which is dashing over the wall, then you want your team to make the aggressive play of bursting down the Baron. If he's able to go up there and get a body on the Kha'Zix, right, all it takes is one E, bump, that will put them in position where you drop the ult on yourself, and that will push the Kha'Zix further away, enough for your team to finish that burst. Now we have a position. It's still the case where if IMT loses a fight, they are going to lose. And because they have 6 items on Aphelios, a win at this time might have enough timer on the push to be able to go end the game. So now these fights are very much coin flip. They see Dokla. They try to make an angle over here. A little bit of a mistake here by Treats again. All right, going forward, there's not really a fight to go off of. But again, look at this position. Pause for a moment. Look at... I did not want L to be forward. Look at how we're positioned. Tactical has moved himself over this wall, and they have vision. Now, if you're in the middle of a fight, this is super, super important. You're going to have a team fight by this area. This control ward can swing the tide of the fight. The fact that your team has vision in here and they do not means that Tactical's position is just great. Compare that to Palafox, where he's barely going to even be able to access this fight, is a big, big skew in their power. Check out the burst that we're going to get here if we get any amount of clump up. We get the knockups, burst into FBI, not able to one-shot him, but able to get most of it. They do eat up the GA, and now they go and they pick off Zeri, which means that they get... they would have gotten Yumi as well. She was able to get to contracts. But with Zeri dead, how do they defend? They've got Yuumi plus Sejuani and Gragas. There's no consistent DPS threat. They've lost their wards here. Teleport is not up for the Jax. They don't have the ability to go backdoor. And look at how IMT goes to end this game. Constantly stepping up. We're being aggressive. We've got the wave. Check out how they're going to approach this. Solo's going to go up and grab a turret shot. Kenvi grabs a turret shot. You move up into position to grab aggro so that your wave stays alive. This is very important. Everything is for the Aphelios, right? You move up. You're willing to sacrifice 99% of your HP. And if it comes to it, you're willing to sacrifice your body as well. A little bit early on the ultimate from Gragas does not get the minions away. And then they're stuck trying to go in. Jib jab, they're going for haymakers at the end. And Immortals actually snatches this victory. So incredibly defended. We saw that when the supers were in position, they did not get in position. The team did not move up. So when you're NRG, you've got those 6 supers coming in. Just let them get into the base. You don't need to make the aggressive play when your minions are doing the slow push. Let them get to a point of imminent threat where they're all the way in the turret. Then you can make that engage. But that should never happen, because if you just back off to Baron, you're patient, let the supers come in, there is no good answer. They are in checkmate. Constantly we saw this dissonance between the strategy on energy. You have aggressive motions with unaggressive plays, and you have passive motions during aggressive plays. So they really need to work on that. They need to figure out what the shot call is like, how they can do that, because by all means this game should be won, and if they take the steps to do it, this is not like an amazing thing Immortals did, although they did great. They looked for isolations, they looked for engages when they could get it, and just say, hey, we got to take fights and win these coin flips, and tactical played out of his mind. So power to them. They did great, but it is worth noting that these principles for completing checkmate, you know, sometimes you have to sacrifice a piece to get that forced checkmate. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just a matter of pushing their king to the corner of the board and delivering checkmate. They missed an opportunity. They tried to deliver a check when it wasn't there, and they ended up giving up their advantage. So nice win, Immortals. Something to work on for NRG. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep it surreal. Peace.